Yes, yes, yes. It is the Castworthy podcast, and we are back. It's Sunday, June 25th, 2023. I am Last of Dying Breed on Twin Machine, aka Big Steve, joined by the Savage EJ Stewart, or EJ Stew, and the VP of Research. It's three-man gang today, and safe to say none of us have taken a trip on a submarine this past week because we're still here with you.
Way too soon.
So gents, how are you guys doing? I'm glad to see you. You didn't make any bad decisions to go check out any Titanic sites or anything.
Way
Or
too.
what would be in Baltimore? Anything, that would be potentially catastrophic to your life that you could visit?
That's outside every day.
Everything downtown.
Yeah, pretty much. I wonder. I would imagine there's some type of shipwreck or wreckage around here, being that the Revolutionary War and War 1812 and all of that kind of stuff was in this area. I would imagine something's buried somewhere.
Well, for the reasonable price of $250,000, I could help you locate said wreckage. Oh man,
You're
weird
trash.
shit, man. Weird shit. This is some weird shit. This was a crazy week, yo. This was a crazy week. Lots of interesting news. Nigga, Putin was hiding shit. Oh man, VP's gonna give us some more on that. We're gonna be into deep uh all pod talking about a little bit of this, a little bit of that. VP, what's up, man? How was the week for you?
Uh, it was pretty cool, man. Hung in there, worked, had a baby shower for my niece. Some of my other nieces came in town, got to see them. I haven't seen them in about a year and a half or so. So it was good to see everybody.
That's always good. You
Yeah,
guys haven't done your family cruise in a couple years, right? So I would
yeah,
assume
yeah.
it's probably time to start potentially restarting that now that COVID's done.
Yeah, we
Thanks,
literally
Joe.
talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I've been looking at cruises for the last like 2 weeks myself.
Hmm.
I got a free cruise from the Hard Rock Casino. Shout out to Hard Rock Tampa, Seminole Hard Rock. And so I just got to choose it and then show up and go. So that's pretty dope. It's two person cruise. If I add a third or fourth, I pay the upgrade charge and
Mm.
upgrade in the room if I decide to go up to the next stateroom. But can't beat it.
Yeah, yeah.
Where does it go?
I got a number of them to choose from. So I actually have one that leaves from Baltimore.
Negro stop. It's been
Uh,
7 years. You have not come up here.
but yeah, there's a bunch that leave obviously from Florida. A couple that leave from Los Angeles, but I'm not gonna pay for a flight to take a free cruise. Seattle, Baltimore, Texas, but I'll probably take one out of here, either Port Canaveral or Tampa or maybe Miami. I just don't like. Remember last time we went out of Miami, VP? I hated driving back. Like the drive down wasn't a problem because you're ready and rearing to go and shit.
Yeah.
You're amped up and you're about to relax for a week. But then, or however long, and then, but the last day, the cruise always gets to port early, so you always wake up early. It's the hustle and bustle to get off the boat, and then the drive 4 hours to get back. It's just too much, man.
You said where everything. You said everything about where they're leaving, but you didn't say where they're going.
Oh, there's
Well, it depends
different.
on where you leave from.
Yeah, yeah. So some of them, there's actually some that leave from the one that leaves from Baltimore goes up to Canada. I want to say. There's one that leaves from Boston that goes up to Canada. But I mean, we've learned there's certain areas that we may not want to,
Yeah.
venture into. So, but I don't know, man. I would love to do a Canadian cruise. There's one that leaves from Seattle that goes to Alaska. I would love to do an Alaskan cruise. Like that would be dope. There's actually one that leaves from Italy, but the flights to Italy are super expensive. It's like a Mediterranean joint. Um, and those are generally pretty expensive. So I considered that 10 days for free. Yeah, I take that all day. But
Yeah.
the flights to Italy right now are a little bit expensive for my taste. But nonetheless, man, summer is here. Summer solstice hit us on the 21st, so 4 days ago. It began, and so from here we are now on winter body loading because it's brunches and drinking and eating bad and shit. That's what the generally the summer looks like. Go get sun kissed a little bit, turn copper. Us light skinned dudes, man, we benefit.
I do that year round.
That's true. You got any plans? What's your plans for today, EJ? I know you were saying that you want to do some fun stuff. Tell me what a typical Sunday fun day in Baltimore is like. Entice me.
Typically, brunch would be around 12ish.
Okay.
At pick your location pretty much at the best food spot, and then pretty much can drag your whole day. It's probably a party or some type of function. I'm gonna be going somewhere this afternoon. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's something blackety black. Uh, so I'm gonna check that out. Uh,
True.
but yeah, I mean, it's a foodie town, man. It's a lot of food places and different drink places, and that's one thing this place has is restaurants and bars. So you know,
A lot of
yeah,
black owned businesses are restaurants up there too, right?
somewhat. You
Well,
gotta
not a
you got a
lot,
good
but
amount. Nah, you got a good amount. You got a good amount. I mean, you got the black owned spots in places that you don't want to go to, and then you got the ones in places that you can go to. So I mean, you got a heavy balance, and it's just town. I mean, it's just like imagine Bridgeport, like four different sections of Bridgeport, just our major bar areas. Just like it's nowhere you can't go in the city where there isn't a bar. It's crazy. It's incredible.
I think everywhere is getting sort of into that, like creating atmospheres for people to hang out and drink and you know whatever because um when I was back home a couple weeks ago, I noticed that there's it's a lot different than what it used to be. It used to be super boring, but now there's a lot of spots to kind of go to. Back then you had like two or three spots you can go to and you pretty much see everybody in one of those two or three spots, but now there's a lot of different areas and bars and restaurants and stuff to choose from. People doing happy hours, and I guess and maybe because we're old, you know, back then it was clubs, and there was only a handful of those, and there probably still are only a handful of clubs. But when you're talking about 40 plus, at least
Yeah,
for
he
two
ain't
of
trying to
us,
do, he ain't trying to do all of that. But yeah, like I mean, Eric could tell you, man. Like literally, you can go from you can go from neighborhood to neighborhood here and just find like rows and rows of spots, and it's just it's a really underrated city for its food and drink aspect. So I always encourage people to come out and check it out, man. Just spend a weekend and give it a run around.
yeah, yeah. Um, well, VP, your president's son is out here doing wild shit. You wanna well, he's been doing wild shit, but we got some news on it. You want to brief us on the old Hunter Biden situation? What came out this week?
Yeah, man. The Hunter Biden investigation is now completed after a 5-year investigation that was politically motivated that began in 2018. It's wrapped up, and we've found out that old Kaiser Soze himself, aka Hunter Biden, basically didn't pay taxes in 2 years and $100,000 each year, and then he checked the
It's a
wrong
lot of money.
box on a gun application.
Wait
That
a
was
minute,
it.
nigga.
After five
Wait a
years,
minute. Wait a minute. This nigga said only 100,000 each year, and then he checked the. No, man. He was on drugs, buying guns, knowing he wasn't supposed to, and then
right?
he had his old lady. Oh yeah, just take it to the black neighborhood. Just dump it in Wilmington. Nothing to see here.
So let me say this first before the tax thing. So I saw a federal prosecutor on TV this week talking about this gun charge thing, and he says that this charge that they're giving Hunter Biden for the not or giving like while you're an addict, whatever, one, this crime is like barely ever charged, like ever. You know what I mean? Two, the reason they put this thing on the books was because when they would have agents like undercover, like in white supremacist groups and stuff, if they couldn't get charges to stick, they found that a lot of these guys were like also addicts. And then so since they also owned a lot of guns, since a lot of them consider themselves to be like militiamen kind of deals, they would use that as a way to get them since they couldn't get them on other shit. You know what I mean? So the fact that he's being charged for something that's rarely ever charged, it kind of tells you that this thing is bullshit. I'm not saying he didn't do it. Don't get me wrong, but it just kind of showed like
Oh, the
some could
goalpost.
argue that he's being overcharged.
No, they can't. No.
Maybe they're softening the blow. Maybe they chose a charge that carries less of a, you know, consequence versus pursuing a heftier charge since he's the president's son.
Well,
You just looped in how this rarely only gets thrown at white supremacists as if this is nothing to see here. Like that,
no, I'm not. I don't mean it in that way. So if it came off that way, I apologize.
it
I
definitely
definitely
did.
didn't mean it that way. I meant it as far as this same former federal prosecutor that I saw talking about this basically said essentially the three crimes that they list in the indictment that he's pleading guilty to is rarely, and the reason why is that they with a misdemeanor failure to pay taxes, but he had already paid back the money, right? He says also, given the fact that Hunter Biden is an addict, if they had went to trial, he probably potentially could have successfully argued that, look, I owe these house fucked up, like you know what I'm saying? So and that potentially could have been something in his column to help him like get off from basically say, like, right headspace because I was on drugs. And that's why I didn't pay. Now I've got I got cleaned up and I paid what I owe, because he had already, and then he said they also look at that as a factor to say, is this person, one, didn't pay taxes, and two, is still evading taxes? You know what I mean? He had already paid the money back, So that's why I say some people could make the argument that they feel that he might have been overcharged given those circumstances. And to the point of him being the president's son, right? Two things on that. One, Merrick Garland, the attorney general, when he came in, Biden, which is his right, fired all of Trump's U.S. attorneys, the federal prosecutors in every state across the country, except for two. One was this dude, John Durham, who was the special counsel that they put in place to investigate the investigators who did the Russia investigation. And two was this guy, Weiss, who was the prosecutor in Delaware, who was looking into the Hunter Biden matter. The attorney general says that he gave Weiss authority. He didn't veto any decision Weiss wanted to make. He didn't deny anything. Weiss, do whatever, go where it's taking you, And when the Republicans started accusing Weiss of having pressure put on him to not charge Hunter Biden, and it was a couple of years ago, back in the year of early June 2023, so like 2 weeks ago, this letter to the Republicans in the House saying there's been no pressure put on me. Everything that we've done in this case is the way that I wanted this case to go. And let me say again, this investigation started in 2018 by this Trump-appointed prosecutor who Biden left in office. So it's not like he's trying to save his job. Once it's done, they're going to anyway and put it in there because they didn't want him in there to begin with. So
Let me ask you this: when Biden comes out nationally and says, "I don't think my son did anything wrong," is that not a form of in your chief of office, your position? Is that not a form of pressure?
yes,
Did he say that?
Yeah,
yes.
Or he,
Biden literally said that.
He was in
Say
an
he doesn't.
interview on he was in an interview on MSNBC, and they asked him about that, and he says, "Look, my son didn't do anything wrong." Now,
Father
Biden,
first, father first, president second.
it could have been that, right? But at
No, no,
the
it's
point
that.
the
This
point
nigga did some wrong shit.
the point that EJ is making is that Biden is the president, and for the most part, he stayed quiet on this matter. Usually, when they bring up Hunter Biden in interviews, he usually says, "Look, I love my son, and I'm glad that he's getting his life together." And then he kind of just ends it there. He doesn't get into it at all. And this is one of those rare moments where he didn't do that. And to EJ's point, it can look like influence, right? The question that you ask yourself is whether or not you believe he was trying to influence the investigation. EJ will say I'm shooting a bill,
You are.
my bias is kicking in,
It
where
is.
the reason that I can, I guess, look past that comment is that one, it was a one-time thing, because like I said earlier, every time he's asked about this, he usually just says, "Look, I love my son, I'm glad he's getting his life together," and then he doesn't answer any other questions about it because he tries to stay away from anything. They ask him about Trump, he doesn't comment on any Trump investigations, even though he probably should, because it would be politically advantageous to him to highlight that this dude's a fucking criminal. You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't. So it's possible, to Steve's point, father first president, that he slipped. Again, I don't in his mind. You know what I'm saying? I only know what I see, but I'm just basing my comment on the way he's commented on these things throughout his presidency has been to not comment. And maybe it was a rare slip, maybe he was trying to influence, I don't know. But there's a lot of no comments, and then there's one time saying, my son didn't do anything. So,
And at the
you
same
have to be the
time,
judge.
one could argue that at the timing of when he said that, when
Absolutely.
so I mean, it's here's the thing, man.
I'm
It's
not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, it's easy
I
to
know,
look at it from either way, but
I know, but here's the thing. It's when you're talking about politics and one side is this and the other side is that, and at the end of the day, when this guy is getting what he's getting in comparison to what the average citizen would get, especially the average black citizen, to utilize the argument, hey, I was high. I mean, you know how many people in America get overcharged and arrested and incarcerated, some by the hands of our very own vice president, that needed drug rehabilitation versus time. I mean, it's a slap in the face to the American people. And the gun and the what happened to the gun, and the excuse they try to use to put it on the lady, like, yeah, she did it, but it was his gun. He probably motivated her to do it, and you just took it to Wilmington and threw it in the trash. It's what happens if somebody, some kid, and or somebody, what happens, and this gun, and everything that we have going on with guns in this nation, and the irresponsibility behind that is, I mean, we're not gonna see this guy go to federal prison, and we're not gonna give him 10 lashes or anything. But it just goes to show, to me, for me, cynics like me, politics as usual.
And I don't disagree. And the last quick, so jump in, is that this is just an indictment. He's planning on pleading guilty to these charges. But it's still up to the judge whether or not, one, to accept the guilty plea, and as far as sentencing, most people believe that he'll just get probation. But at the end of the day, it's up to the judge. And even if he gets jail time, like I've said from the beginning, me and Steve talked about this offline in chat. Um, I don't think he's going to jail, and I never thought he was going to jail. And the reason why is twofold. One, as the son of the current president, he has Secret Service protection. So I'm not that the feds send him to prison, because how does that work? Because there's nothing in the law that says that they have to protect these people, that, oh, the protection stops if they go to prison. So do they send the Secret Service on the cell block with them? Do they, maybe they give him jail time, but then say it's just going to be house arrest, and then tell the agents he can't leave home, something like that. But I don't think he was ever going to go to prison. But two, his dad's the president. These are federal charges. And at the end of the day, like, if it's not like he's being charged with murder or some kind of, arms trafficking shit, and I just that I would let my son, and if I got the sole power, unreviewable by anybody in this nation at any level, I'm not gonna let them send my kid to jail. So I
Right.
don't think that he was ever going to prison in all.
Yeah, in the haves and have-nots, we saw them send their son to jail to teach him a lesson. I don't think Biden would do that. Clearly, he said he doesn't think his son did anything wrong. So that tells us alone that if he was to end up with any type of jail time, that Biden will put that to rest. Joe Biden, that is. But ultimately, listen, we knew what this was going to be. You know, the key here is now going to be for him to keep his nose clean. You know, literally and figuratively. Otherwise, the next time it comes around, people are going to start to ask questions. Like you figure this is kind of like we had a thing called an AR. It was called an activated rehab in Bridgeport when I was younger. And I don't know if they still have it, but if you got, you it was your first offense or whatever, and we know, I don't know if this is, Hunter's first or whatever, but it was your
Probably
first
not.
offense. Yeah, your first offense. You could take an AR, you go do what's called activated rehab, and you don't do any time or whatever. You don't get unless it's of course something major, murder or something like that. And apparently in Atlanta there's something like that similarly that they do to try and keep, and they said it was rolled out by I forget who. I was listening to Killer Mike talk about it. I learned a lot from listening to this guy. But to try and keep us, our people, out of jail, and our lives not being ruined by you know smaller sentences, right? You basically get a
Mhm.
year to clean up. You come back within a year, you've cleaned up, you've handled your business, and then they kind of wipe it off your record, type of thing. So kind of sounds like they're giving him the benefit of the doubt in this sense. It is a bad look when you talk about a gun charge being associated with the son of a Democratic politician. That's hefty. Drug charges and stuff like that. Like, we know that's normal. The tax thing is kind of concerning, right? Wesley Snipes went to jail. We've seen some high profile people go to jail, so it's not like people could say, "Oh, well, it's a president's son. We can't put him in jail for tax evasion," right? And I know VP didn't say that, but I don't think there's room for anyone to say that because we've seen high profile people deal with stiff consequences due to tax evasion. So, but again, he's paid it back. He's kind of handled it, whatever.
Shit. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think you brought the. I mean, and listen, we all know again. The last name is Biden. So, but you brought up the most perfect example of Wesley Snipes, who did pay everything before having to go to jail, and still had to go to jail. So, I mean, this is the way the country works, man. And my thing at the end of the day, and I don't think it's much that Joe can do, to be honest. I mean, your kid is your kid,
He's a
and
dad.
yeah, it's not much you can do. But it's unfortunate because in the political climate that we have, and in the Bloods and Crips war we got on both sides of the aisle, one is going to take this and use it to their advantage, and then the other side pretty much has to play defense. And then you got people in the middle that are just kind of fucking just tired of the country and the way things are ran. And I don't think it moves the needle so much. It's just one of those things. It's one of those things that's added to politics that you just hate it. You just hate it overall.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
let me just point one thing out real quick, because this has come the Wesley Snipes Hunter Biden situation. Congressman Donalds of Florida brought this up. He's a black Republican from Florida. Um, the main difference in that case is that Wesley Snipes was charged with tax evasion for filing taxes. He didn't not only did he not pay, he didn't even file. So that's why he got a tax evasion charge. Hunter Biden was charged with, so he basically filed his tax, didn't pay what he owed. And both counts are misdemeanor counts or whatever. But I don't know if these are different or whatever. I hadn't read much on it because I didn't know it was going to come up here. But there was a difference in what they were actually charged with.
Yeah, well, Hunter is taking the plea down, right?
Wesley actually went to court.
Right. So I mean that's the difference. And Wesley also was never offered a plea, to my knowledge, and he also paid the money. He also paid the money prior to, going to court. So I mean,
Yeah.
Right. And actually, like as this was when I came back onto the pod, you guys were talking about it, so I actually looked it up here and I see that PolitiFact, which is a fact, actually I was just trying to read it before I jumped in here, and they talk about here is that on the face, Wesley Snipes' tax evasion case, there's some resemblances in 2008. The jury found Wesley Snipes guilty of misdemeanor counts of felony federal income returns from 1999 to 2000. The actor was tried alongside co-defendants Eddie Ray Khan, who owned the company that helped tax deniers avoid paying taxes, and Douglas Rosalie, a former accountant for Khan's company. So it seems like this was, based on what this is saying, it sounds like this was more of a scheme to make sure you didn't owe taxes versus, owing taxes and just not paying it. You know what I mean?
yeah, they tried to they made him an example for who they wanted. And
yeah.
But I mean, the dude, at the end of the day, the dude paid it. You know what I mean? And shouldn't have had to do that much time. Like,
But it was. I mean, we're talking,
millions to
9 million over, a couple 100,000. So I get it, but it's just, listen, man, the biggest thing that stands out to me is that Joe Biden commented and said, my son did nothing wrong. Right. And, again, we talk about parents are going to be parents. And that's how we know he's not doing no jail time. End of day, end of story. Hopefully he doesn't have to do whatever it takes to not make him do jail time. Right. I hope the court just is like, whatever, here, go do your fucking probation, well, not parole, but probation, do your 2 years probation or whatever. Because if he does, that's going to make things pretty nasty, seeing Joe have to do what he has to do. Like, and I would fully support him doing it, because if I was in that position and VP was in that position, EJ, you were in position, I know the three of us would do the exact same thing. I don't even care. I don't care what the charge is, and I don't care if it's on video. Like, I can see you strangle somebody on video. Well, guess what? Pardon me, pardon me, sir. I got something to say about this. So, yeah, man.
No, I'm giving it up.
Right.
Nothing to see here.
Right, exactly. VP, tell us about real quick a little bit about the civil unrest in Russia that took place for a couple days. Seemed like it went pretty quick.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. So there's this guy named Yevgeny Prigozhin. He's basically the head of this group, Wagner Group. It's spelled Wagner, but they pronounce it Wagner.
Fun.
But it's like basically this mercenary group that's essentially a bunch of like convicts that they free. They essentially tell them, if you get out of jail, go fight for us. You can get your freedom or whatever. And so they're like really ruthless, and they're fighting in Ukraine. And the things that the Russians, they use these like military groups that are like aligned to the government, but like any like technical affiliation with the government. But they're, you see these guys in armored vehicles and rocket launchers. It's like, where'd they get this shit from? Because I mean, I know we talk about Bloods and Crips, but it's not like these dudes got armored vehicles and shit. So but yeah, so they say that the Russian government was not supplying them appropriately in Ukraine and attempted to kill them. And they decided they were going to go and, basically have a coup, take out Putin. And they start marching towards Moscow to get like halfway there. And then some kind of agreement is made between the Russian government and the leader, where he's going to like resign basically from this, and then in Ukraine and Belarus. And then the soldiers are essentially going to agree to join the Russian army like proper, and the Russians are going to drop any charges against him for like treason or whatever. So the whole thing stinks. Like I don't know if you guys had a chance to read that I posted in the. There's a woman who like geopolitics at college or that. He said this thing don't start from the beginning, and she's like speculation, but she's tying together like a bunch of threads that are out there where the Chinese have been like pressuring the Russians, like you got to end this shit in Ukraine. The Indians have as well, and as well as pressure from the West, the U.S., Europe, etc. She says what she thinks could be happening here is that Putin wants to get out of Ukraine without admitting defeat, and so you get your boy to do and troops out there to protect the homeland. You know what I mean? And that this deal struck and go back to Ukraine because this thing could pop up again. Make sure the homeland's good before we start doing any other shit, and it allows you to essentially get out of Ukraine, save some face, and not have to admit that you were defeated.
I think largely too, it could be those.
What's muted?
Who for me? Oh, I
No,
didn't.
me.
Oh,
No, I muted myself.
I think too some of that money that's tied up from those monarchs and oligarchs or whatever. I think some of them dudes is pissed off with this guy because they too have realized or already have known that this war went nowhere, didn't do anything, and they're they're not eating right now. It's been a long time. They got assets taken. They're not on their yachts, and what I mean, that thing we said that when Joe and everybody's putting pressure on them, we said that would come around. They don't feel it right now, but after a while, and you're not living the way you're supposed to, you're not off the coast of France right now, yachting it up, you're gonna feel it.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah, the access to stuff, the funds, because Joe did what he had to do. But yeah, I mean, and then here's the thing, nigga, you ain't wrapped this shit up yet. Like if I'm sitting there and I'm looking at Putin, like, dude, what do you like? You ain't right. All right, just stop. Like it's like you go to think about it. Somebody's big brother. You go to fight somebody that's much smaller than you. You're supposed to win that quick. Like let's wrap this up quick. I'm gonna punch him in his face, send him home, and it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? But then you get there, you hit him, and now you tussling with this dude, and you start losing a little bit. But then you bigger and stronger, so you kind of get back on top. But then you can't hit him because he's covering his face, and the thing just goes on. Like all right, man, you ain't get the job done. It's time to just call it quits and get back to whatever, like, because all you're doing right now is causing more frustration, anger, and financial anguish to your own people. Like that's where the challenge comes in. So Putin and clearly Putin he ran and hid. So the dude was scared. He was shook. He was shook daddy. Big homie was coming. And obviously when you have that dude, like think about it, right? Like if I'm the guy that pays the guy to go get his hands dirty, and now the guy that I paid to get his hands dirty is coming back at me, I would be concerned as well, and Putin clearly was, and the easy way out of that was, hey, listen, man, we gonna let you go, we don't gotta worry about this, we'll act like this never happened. How's that sound? So
How's that sound?
Yeah.
Nah, your analogy, my bad, VP. Your analogy is exactly right. Like Putin was doing this as if this is 1912, and you're just gonna assimilate this nation. Like, nah, these people are not gonna just roll over here, and the world is not gonna just sit here and let you just do this. Like, it's I don't know, Europeans, man. I don't know.
I mean, y'all are exactly right. Even our own estimates, like from our government, was saying Ukraine would fall like in a space of like anywhere from like 4 days to like 2 weeks when this thing first started a year and a half ago. And then it was like, wait, hang on, something rolling over, help them, and then we start sending them money, weapons. The other countries start sending them money and weapons, and then it's like the more capability they got from all the stuff we're sending them, the harder they were able to fight and push back. And from early estimates from our government saying anywhere from 4 days to 2 weeks, we're a year and a half into this thing, and it ain't no closer than it was a year and a half ago. So like to Steve's point, you pay to go be the bully, and now he's bullying you. Like that's gonna say something to people at home who, the whole thing about being a strong man, you got to appear strong, and now, there's a chink in the armor. It's like we always use the analogy. We talk about all the time. Rocky IV. When he's like, he's cut, he's a man. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He's not a machine. Yeah. I like how we fat fingered extra $6 billion though to them.
Yep.
Fat fingered the extra $6 billion over there.
Right.
Wow.
Fat fingered.
Wow.
Wink, wink. That's the Ukraine fund.
I just want my student loans gone, bro.
Yeah. But we'll see in about 5 years when there's a Biden island that pops open somewhere. Like, oh, where do you get the funds to buy an island? Maybe the Ukraine money.
And you guys know, like, I support the money that we give into Ukraine because I understand the larger objective, right? But this is the kind of thing that pisses off myself included, but people who advocate for reductions in military spending and this in social programs to help at home, because due to an accounting error, we sent them an extra $6 billion, but then you see people getting food stamps cut off or Section 8 or getting kicked off of Medicaid or whatever, where we can we somebody accidentally didn't carry the one, or whether it was nefarious, what I mean, to carry the two, and Ukraine extra $6 billion, but then we say, hey, you need WIC, we can't do it, we just ain't got it. You know what I'm saying?
Like kind of tight this year.
Yeah. they didn't carry more than a little bit more than the one. I think they forgot to do PEMDAS on that one, nigga.
Yeah,
But I mean, parentheses come first.
But you think about like our budgets, right, in the United States. I mean, in the 80s, the entire United States budget was like just under $1 trillion. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And now with a budget that's more than $4 trillion, I mean, $6 billion is like a rounding error. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's insane of money that is spent in a gun, but
they must have E doing their the
budget. Oh snap!
Savage.
Yo,
savage.
Oh, that's foul.
Yeah, man.
Nah, because he's a cheap motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except when he's out drinking and eating, his whole spending style. Like I had this dude. You would thought he was Daddy Warbucks up here.
Yeah, after you get a couple drinks in him,
mm-hmm.
he definitely moves differently. But yeah, man. So Zion is still in the news. Actually, really, it's not even Zion that's still in the news. This would probably be a quick one. Maybe it'd be a quick one, or it might just turn real toxic. But
Mariah Mills.
Zion must have hit. Remember, I think it was it Lunel? There was a female comedian that said, there's that funky stuff in the back. Like once you get into that funky stuff in the back, you got enough dick to get to the back there. He get keys and he get cars and credit cards and shit. Zion she loved this dude. She loved him. Like I have personally had stage 5 clingers like this wild ass bitch years back. Like bitch call and be like, my hair is falling out, you've got me so stressed, I think I'm pregnant. Bitch, Get off my
Oh
phone. And
man.
now this was
Oh
back when we
man.
had this is back when we had house phones. So there was no texting back then. Like I didn't get the text messages like bring. Oh, answer machine picks up. I'm gonna just send it to the answer machine. Um, but she's crazy, dude. Like Mariah, what's her name? Mariah Mills,
Mariah
right?
Mills. Yep.
Yeah.
Mariah Mills, a chick that the young lady that Zion has been paying allegedly some large dividends to for services, uh, went and got her face tattooed with his name Zion on her jawline this week, and
I hope, is it real?
That was my first question because, like in the video that we see, there's a cut, and I get it. They obviously it looks like it's cut for time. It's an Instagram video, but
right.
we wonder, is it real?
I hope it's not.
I hope
I
it's
hope
not.
it's not, man. And if it is, I think VP. To your point, you said in the chat yesterday, the people that love this girl, man, like they got to get close to her, man, because
Yeah.
it's it's bad, man.
She's been
Because
in
if
pornos. I don't
you
think anybody, like VP
Love
said last week, I don't think she is what she is. I don't think people
no,
checking
but
in
I
on her
mean,
no more.
you can have real relationships. I mean, it's not like people. If you got people who understand, like, look, I don't agree with what you do, but it is what it is. You out there
No,
killing.
I'm saying I don't think she got much family, bro.
I mean, she may not, but friends, whoever, right? But the point I'm making here is that, like, when we're watching the Netflix documentary, right? This part, you're like the 48-minute mark of the hour and a half documentary. This is the part where you, the viewer, see this is where they need to get her some help, because
this
I can
is
see,
just how crazy this bitch is.
if it's a story that you already know, you can see like this was the turning point. You know what I'm saying? If the thing is real, this is the turning, something that a year and a half now down the road is going to be like, yeah, I mean, I saw it coming. I saw it in the face tattoo. You know what I mean? So whoever it is that's in her life that loves her, claims to love her, care about her, whatever word you want to use for affection, they need to try to get to this chick and get her some help, man.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty, man, and I hope it's not real. I just hope it's not real.
Yeah.
I feel bad for this kid though, but because Steve, what you talk about, it hit home, man, and we all may have experienced that. I don't I don't know. VP been pretty lucky, uh, but that feeling as a kid, and you hearing that, and it's like, yo, like, what's your problem? You know what I mean? Like, you taking it
VP's
too
was
far.
different. He was promising them citizenship. We was just telling him, I'll buy you lunch tomorrow. He like, yo, you want to come back? You want to make it to America?
Yeah, I mean, and
Oh,
this
you bigger
dude.
dick of man. You bigger black a dick of man.
Oh,
Yo, I mean, this kid is still young, and I mean, everything on display that's happening, like he just gotta feel like shit. Like, I shouldn't have messed with you, and to have this moment at 20 something, the
22.
world is watching you. It's
Mhm.
it's nasty, man, and that's why I told y'all better protect y'all sons out here. People
When does it
talking about
become
daughters.
harassment? Though?
It's
Like when
past
does
harassment.
when does it
It's
become
been that.
harassment?
It's been extortion. It's been
It's been that.
revenge porn. It's harassment. It's now psychological abuse.
She
It's
needs to be. She's got to be
emotional
held
abuse.
accountable, man. She's got to be
It's
held accountable.
nasty, man.
Now, the one thing I'll shoot her just a smidge of bail. And this doesn't make it right, but if I go from somebody giving me $105,000 a month or whatever the frequency was, just to
God damn.
just to do the deed, to now you got a baby mom's or a baby dad, we'll call it, because it would be the other way around, and now you don't want to come around no more. I might feel a certain type of way too. Like
He
even
said
if
he got her. He said
like
yo, you can still get your bread. Just chill. She ain't
that's
she ain't doing it for the money no more.
that's a lot of
She's
money, dude.
unhinged. She's not worried
105.
about the bread no more.
That's a lot of money, man.
He said,
Think
yo,
about
I
it.
got you. He said, yo, I got you.
What's that?
Chill.
1.2 in a year? I'm
Yeah.
giving you
Yeah.
1.2 in a year. Listen, she must.
He's
She
spending
must.
he's spending on her what LeBron spends to be in the cryo chamber.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
why
She must.
he
Well,
ain't
that's
never gonna be
why.
great.
she sucked all the tightness out of his muscles, like straight through the main vein. Let's get that tightness out your shoulders. Here,
Oh
lay
man.
down real quick because, dude, 100,000. We talking
but
about
Steve, he told,
$40
but
for little
Steve,
things down there in the Dominican girls
but
that look
Steve,
100 times better than her.
a rational person that's worried about their bread, when he said, "I got you," chill, would have been like,
Yeah,
"All right, you know the count. I'll be waiting."
Yeah.
No,
You
she
got the cash
doubled
app.
down. She doubled down and was like, "No."
yeah. Yeah, we've seen that though. She saw a future with him, I think is what it is. Like she
Yeah.
probably had plans like, all right, I got a future with this man. I'm gonna become a basketball wife. I'm gonna get a TV show. I'm gonna build a brand. I'm gonna get a my own clothing brand. Like whatever her plan was, like, her board was erase it all and throw it out. Like,
Yeah.
the vision board that people make, she probably had a vision board, a mental vision board. Maybe it was made out of Legos, something, but whatever it was, he just threw a full monkey wrench in that plan. And I think that's what's really probably sending her off the deep end, because now she's realizing that even those couple of dollars that he might send her, because eventually you're gonna stop. Like I
Mm,
might say, hey, I got you, but you're not gonna send me 100,000 to be quiet just for the rest of my life. You know what I'm
right.
saying? You might do it for another 30 days, another 90 days. But then after that, I gotta go try and land another dude. And there ain't too many other suckers out there, first of all, now that are gonna take me on, knowing what kind of shit that I caused on the internet for you. That's one. And two, he's fucking dumb. 100,000? Like you're not finding that. I don't think there's any other, and it might have happened in the past. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know for sure, but I doubt that there's anybody else that has given 100,000 to abroad as an athlete, as a top athlete, for that kind of service. Like that's a lot of
Yeah.
money. That's a lot of money.
Oh,
You should be able to get it for free.
see, maybe when we initially talked, I don't want to say we had it wrong or backwards, but like initially it seemed like Zion was caught up, and it seemed like they both kind of were, you know what I mean? So maybe she went into this thing as like a financial arrangement and then caught feelings, or even if she didn't catch feelings, she at least was addicted to the money, you know. And then now she's in this weird place. And I'll remind you, Steve, since you watch it all the time, you love it. This is kind of what happened to old girl in The Sopranos when Tony cut her off, the Russian chick.
Oh yeah, yeah, she was wild.
Only difference is he could have had her knocked off.
Yeah,
She knows she was fucking with.
But from what, like, when you try to read through the crazy, right? Like I read through the crazy, and as I'm looking at some of the stuff she said, I'm thinking he was probably feeding her something, and they probably were at one point, more than just a transactional situation, right? Because
Yeah,
she does say that he said some shit like or she, that he wouldn't let her out when she was in New Orleans because he was fearing that she was, with other dudes or cheating, right? Like a dude only cares about, some box if he really cares about that person, right? Like we can go get, and I'm not saying us, but men in general can go get some side box and not worry about it at all, because you know what it is. Like she might have a man, she might have a husband, she might have other dudes but you don't care about that. It's the point where you start to actually care about that person, become emotionally invested in that person, that you start to be like, hey, how come you ain't call me? You know what I'm saying? Hey, how come you ain't text me
it's
yesterday?
4 o'clock, and where
You
you
know,
ask that?
right. And now when
But
she turned to you and she like, you just paying me. Now you start to get upset and frustrated. So to me, it sounds like they might have had something, but I think Shorty that he ended up landing with is probably like that was the one.
yeah, this is a classic case of take your poison, and she's looking at it like, you chose her over me, like you put a baby in her, and I've been asking.
Mhm.
So I mean, again, listen, you
Give
play
me
stupid.
give me the choice between a stripper and the chick that gets dick down on video. I'm gonna take the stripper, the lesser of two evils. It's like the Hillary Clinton, Trump, that whole election, lesser of two evils.
But I mean, at some point, again, you realize as a man, you realize who you really need to be with, and she's proving to the world that he made the right choice. And it's like, hey, you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes, And the
Yeah.
man told you chill. Like at some point, you gotta chill and
Yeah,
wait for that money to hit your account. Now
that's it.
you done blew the whole bag away. I mean, at
Right.
the most, she might get Gail Weathers, the interviewer.
Gail King.
I mean,
Gail
she
King, yeah.
need yeah, Gilkin. She needs I don't know. But for Zion, man, he needs to if he's gonna be trafficking in these kind of circles that he appears to like, he should probably, stop spreading DNA and start having them DAs. Switch those letters around.
He needs to, yeah, exactly. He needs to call James Harden, because we know James Harden be frequenting some spots in some cities in the middle of games at times. Like this guy, he keeps it. So, and we've never heard it like for James Harden.
And
So
that's what I've been saying. Where were the vets? Like, where were the vets?
there weren't any on New Orleans. Think about it.
Mm,
There's no vets on New Orleans. But again, you still like, we're a brotherhood. Like you should be
Ingram,
calling me.
Ingram,
Bron Bron should have been calling them like, hey, this is how you keep it clean. You know what I'm saying? Like,
somebody had to put their arms around this
I
kid.
refuse to believe that LeBron James has made it 20 years and not a one. Not a
Oh,
one.
there's an
No
IG model.
scandal.
There's an
But
IG model coming out now saying she knows where the bodies are. That she knows LeBron has had affairs, and I say to this, listen, man,
you know it comes with the territory, man.
it don't fucking matter. Savannah ain't going
Right.
nowhere.
Right.
That nigga, and he ain't even gonna have to apologize publicly. He ain't gonna have to do none of that
Right.
Kobe shit, because Vanessa was finna take everything Kobe had. That was Kobe saving the bag at that point. Listen, yeah, Savannah ain't going nowhere. She been with that man since high school. Savannah probably signs off on that shit. You know what I mean? She ain't going nowhere. It's too much bread. It
when
ain't
you go
happening.
when you go from a 1 bedroom apartment to the life that she's living, yeah, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is wrong. Would it be wrong? Absolutely. Infidelity is always wrong. But you know what comes with this territory. Like if I was to get with Cheryl Swoops or somebody like that, like I know what it is. I know, like, go listen, go get it. Go if Brittany Griner, hey, listen, go get it. Whoever it is, I know what time it is. As long as this is home, you taking care of home.
Savannah handing them broads NDA. Like, look now, you got 20 minutes apiece, okay?
Right.
Anything
and
more, I'm
if
coming in, I'm whooping your ass.
and if Bron is doing something right, we don't know that, right? He seems to have been a clean guy throughout his career, right? But if something is happening,
This dude can't even
he
joke about LeBron. He love him that much. He can't
he,
even.
no. The point I'm making is that LeBron has the benefit of seeing what happened to Kobe. Him and Kobe in the exact same situation, high school sweetheart. No prenup, explosion of money out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So he probably, if something is happening, has the privilege of hindsight to be able to say, okay, let me make sure this is in place, that's in place. Whoop, whoop, So if
Listen,
he is doing dirt, he's keeping that shit in the wraps.
I have now two types of automobiles that I will never frequent. Helicopters, thanks to Kobe, and submarines, thanks to the billionaires. Those are just two things that you will never catch me in on my own accord. You'll have to force me into a helicopter if I'm doing that.
Kobe met her after high school, I thought.
I thought
Vanessa,
they were. I
Yeah,
thought they were high school
he met
sweethearts.
her in '99. I don't know if they went to high school together
it
though.
was. I don't know if they went together, but it was young. Like
Yeah,
it was definitely.
he met her like 3 years after his draft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I
But
know
they were still young.
he had
But
a couple joints in high school because
Gotcha.
Brandy and
oh, that's right, Kobe. That's exactly Kobe. Didn't he go to his
Mm-hmm.
prom with Brandy? Was it Brandy he went to the prom with?
Brandy went to prom with
Mm,
him. Yep.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
But
That's who Black America was pushing to get with, but that ain't
yeah.
work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You thought Kobe was gonna end with somebody with box braids?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. You see Savannah change her hair up quick. Brown like, hey, you better go get some of that. Go. Get the good mane. Get that shit up in there. Mane and tail. All up in there. Shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Blue
Straight out of
magic.
India.
Stupid.
Nonetheless, man, Zion, man, he gotta get together.
Thoughts and prayers for him.
Yeah, all the best to him because it's
Thoughts
getting
and
tough out
prayers.
there. A lot of times is hard. Wembayana went number one as expected, and I don't know if I said that right. But
I just changed the sub.
it's still basketball.
Oh, you
Transition.
thought you went to the sub and then you went back to basketball. It's all good.
Transition.
Oh no, listen, man, I'm on a timer today. I'm on a timer. EJ trying to get drunk. I'm trying to go. Whatever.
My shit gets said first though. Yeah.
He's like, I'm on time. EJ trying to get drunk. I gotta go pray.
Exactly. It's Sunday.
Whatever to make EJ look bad.
Yo, thank you. I'm glad somebody finally sees it because I don't never get no bail. Otherwise, most times VP just adds on to the shit. Like, yeah, we were waiting. Like, yo,
I can't. I can't get. Listen, man. I try to be sensitive to his time, and y'all still kill me for it.
Steve trying to go to Costco. That's what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, Costco. I don't have shit to say about the NBA draft because I didn't really watch too much of it. I know the Magic had 2 early picks. Here in Orlando, I'll be watching. They took 2 guards. Like, I mean, you're just gonna keep taking guards on guards on guards. Like, it's out of control. I think the more enticing news for the NBA this week was Chris Paul getting traded to Golden State.
And then Golden State.
Well,
right?
first Washington, and then people were like, "Well, there's no question that they're going to just move him." And then he did. He got moved to Golden State for
Jordan Poole.
What do you guys think of that trade? Why do you think that trade took place, and what do you think the outcome is going to be?
Draymond.
Yeah, Draymond is the key. They want to bring back their getting Poole just to make Draymond happy, make the locker room happy. I don't know, some kind of atmosphere thing. Yeah, and this Jordan Poole thing goes to show you that, like, I get it that the NBA, NFL, whatever, is a business, but you can't. And this is part of the reason why, Steve, like when we talk about LeBron leaving Cleveland, that I give LeBron a lot of bail on this, because you can't trust. 4 days before they traded Jordan Poole, the GM, he's our man, $100,000. We want this guy to retire as a Warrior. We love this guy here. 4 days later, foot in the ass. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't blame these players when they are trying to, a max contract or saying a trade clause. I want more money. I want to get out of this organization, whatever, because the organization will do it to them, like it can't be a business just for the business people. And then for the players, it's about loyalty, So,
and that's what they try to sell it. That's the good old boy company man approach, and that unfortunately for the players' generation before them, that's how they got screwed out of never making the money that they should have. But the Jordan Poole thing, man, it's nasty. He should have fought Draymond before leaving. But I like the larger thing for me. I don't see where the Warriors go here. I don't see where this team goes. Like, you traded for this kid, okay, and you got back Chris Paul, who doesn't fit your offense at all, who likely might not be a starter, who, in my opinion, he's honestly one playoff injury away from retiring. You didn't shore up your interior. You didn't get a big man. And at this point, you don't really even know if Draymond wants to come back. You know what I mean? He might pull one of the moves and go to LA. They were talking about Memphis. crazy stuff. So I don't really see where this franchise goes. And we all know Steve Kerr ain't the coach of the coach of accolade that he's received. So I don't know where you go. You got Clay that is getting older, athletically clearly isn't there. Steph may have a baby face, but he's getting older. And then who do you have around? You got Wiggins, who was barely there this year. You know what I mean? So I don't know where this team really goes. I don't know.
So I think the Jordan Poole trade, and I good job, Var. You tried to rope me in on the LeBron talk, and I'm too smart for that. The Jordan Poole trade, I find the timing was, I mean, it's clear, right? Draymond opts out, Jordan Poole gets traded. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know who they wanted there, and we know who Steph wanted there, because ultimately that's what it is. It ain't what nobody else wants. It ain't what Steve Kerr wants. It ain't what nobody else wants. They went to light skinned Under Armour shoe wearing dude and was like, "Hey, we know that you're dealing with some stuff with your wife out there trying to, sleep with strippers, but you know, who would you prefer?" And he was like, "No, we need Draymond, because," and it's probably because Draymond is that, he's that locker room guy. He's the rah rah guy. You need that guy. He's like Haslam to them. Now, whether Draymond goes back or not is going to be the biggest question. He loves LeBron. Like, I feel like this guy's he loved LeBron more than Savannah at times. He lose to LeBron and be like, "Ah, this is my great guy." Fuck out of here. But I think, I don't know if they're done though. In the sense of, I think they've got more plans. Wiggins might be on the move. What's the other dude that they got? The other small forward. I forget his name. But a lot of teams are allegedly interested in him. I think it starts with a W as well. But nonetheless, I think they got moves to make. I think they're still going to make another move or two. I think, or they plan, or they're thinking, they're hoping they can, right? Because if, let's say, Draymond don't come back, they gotta go get somebody now. At that point, now they gotta make a move and go pick someone for the middle. Maybe they try to go. Maybe they go talk to the Knicks and get your boy. If the Knicks are shopping him, or Julius, or maybe they go to Minnesota and they try to make that move for Gobert or Cat or something like that, right? And they try to shore that, or maybe they hit up the Clippers and they try to bring in Paul George, and now you got Paul George, Clay, Steph, um, Chris Paul, right? And now you just need some serviceable big men in there, because you should have enough as veterans to help get you through the West. Whether you win it or not, whether you beat Denver, whatever is questionable. But I think they're just trying to build on that, because Steph is gonna do enough to get you in the playoffs or the play-in by himself. Like, I think you give Steph a decent team and he's gonna be able to do that. He, like LeBron, just like some of these other guys. But you need those extra guys that are going to get you over the hump. And I think that's what their plan is. All right. Jordan Poole didn't really show up in the playoffs. That clutch stuff didn't happen. He caused, well, he didn't cause it, but his situation that happened with Draymond caused, some team chemistry failure, if you will. So I think that's what Golden State's planning. And to your point, does Chris on the surface, does Chris Paul fit the offense? Maybe not. But maybe you redraw your offense up so that now Steph doesn't have to handle the ball. Maybe he's coming off of those screens and he's catching them clean from Chris Paul, those passes, and Clay and stuff like that, right? Maybe you slow the offense down just a little bit and keep these guys moving in the half court because they're getting older. And Chris Paul is smart enough to get them the ball in situations where they can make plays and hit shots and stuff like that. That might be their hope. Whether that's what's going to happen or not remains to be seen. But that could be what their thought pattern was.
I just don't see this team being a couple pieces away. This is the team that got swept by the Lakers, right? By the old man Lakers. And that wasn't a team that was very deep.
Y'all gotta stop that. Y'all gotta stop doing that with them Lakers, man. Lakers team, once they came back, so after they made the move,
yeah, they were strong.
Trade deadline, They had the winningest record in the league.
Yeah, okay. I mean, again, so even to that point, I don't feel like this Golden State team is won anything away. When you got the Kings out there, got the
Yeah,
Nuggets out there, you got LeBron who may tool up with a Draymond or get or they they gonna make moves. You got Memphis that Ja's gonna sit 25 games, but shit, we know
they just got
that
Marcus Smart.
they got Marcus Smart, and we know that shit they actually still can play without this motherfucker. So when he actually does come back, now he got Marcus Smart, who a lot of people give Marcus Smart a lot of shit when his only real claim to fame of ever doing anything stupid was in college, as a young boy when the fan called him a nigger. But you got a guy who has an OG presence, who was the glue for Boston, the heart and soul for Boston, who's going to show these cats how to play, how to win. So, I mean, I don't really see shit getting easier for Golden State in
Right.
any way. And I don't see them being a piece away. I really don't. And at some point, Steph, let's not forget he started his career injury prone. He ain't getting no younger.
And
So,
that's on my thought. I don't feel like they got better adding Chris Paul. He doesn't fit the playing style. Now we don't know it yet. It remains to be seen. I could see Steve's argument on maybe they're gonna change the offense or something like that, half court, etc. Fine. But you have Steph, and then it's kind of like everybody else. Clay is a shell of himself. Draymond ain't the same Draymond that he was before. The Chris Paul you just got ain't the same Chris Paul. And you know, to Steve's point, yes, Steph can get you to the playoffs, but if you don't got those other pieces to help you get over the hump, that guy who is going to give you the unexpected 25 points one night, or maybe one night Steph's shooting it crazy and then Clay's also going off at the same time. And then instead of needing 25 from that one guy, you only need 12 from him or something like that. They seem to not have those pieces anymore. And unless they have more in the plans in terms of trades, I just don't see it happening. And to EJ's point, West has gotten so much better. And I don't want to say it seems like overnight, because I mean, obviously these teams have been building towards this or whatever, but you know, I don't know if we were expecting the Kings to be those guys this year, and everybody expects them to be right back there next year.
Mm-hmm.
You still got the there. Denver still will beast. If you decide to go deeper into the luxury tax and run it back with that team, they're still going to be formidable. The Suns just did their thing. We got to see how they put that roster together, just because they're so far over the cap, and they got Bill, KD, and Booker. Last night that they're looking to Ayton. They're trying to find another trade partner to make it a 3-team, but move Ayton to relieve some salary cap and get some picks. But the Suns are there, so it's not like the West. It's like when Boston adds Porzingis, it's like, yo, I can see them doing things, because the East is still not as good as it's kind of historically been, right? But okay, I can see Boston, being the team to beat in the East. But with this move in Golden State, it's like,
and
you know,
let's not forget the Mavericks with Kyrie Irving and Luka
Mm-hmm.
Doncic were
Mm-hmm.
11th in the final standings. And if Kyrie comes back and they get a year to gel, okay, and then you got the
Yeah,
Clippers at 5.
they were both injured. They didn't play many games together, which is
right.
I think for Dallas can be a good thing once we see them together this year. But they still need pieces too.
And
Yeah.
And
they
Cuban
still
said he wants him back,
and
so
they still got to get him back. And the Clippers landed at 5 with the injuries that they had. I mean, so again, I just don't. I don't know. I don't see this team. They finished 6th, 44-38. I don't see this team. I
we
don't
got to
see
see about
it.
the Clippers though, because I mean, we're hearing about them shopping Paul George, like the
Which
Knicks were rumored.
which I think makes no bones for them, because that motherfucker barely played too.
Yeah, I think his value is
Way
lower than
down.
what
Way
it could
down.
be if they wait until halfway through or close to halfway through the season to see what that looks like. But If they're shopping him, it's because Kawhi also had some input on it. So that's one question I got for y'all. Did Tobias Harris become LeBron James overnight? Because Philly,
Apparently he did.
yo, Philly is bugging. They asked Cleveland, EJ. Yeah, I know this is gonna resonate with you because you like this team just like I do. Um, they asked Cleveland for Mobley, Jared Allen, and a pick for Tobias Harris.
This is why you can't take the NBA seriously. This is precisely why we can't take the NBA seriously. It just you can't. And even the fact that even the trades that I saw for Paul George to the Knicks. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something right fucking here and now. If the New York Knicks trade for Paul George, I'm fucking done. I am done for the next 5 years. There ain't a lot of trades out there that I would fuck with for the New York Knicks at this point. We got a young team. We just need to get rid of the coach. But you can't take the NBA seriously, man. Even the Porzingis to Boston trade makes no sense to me. I hear you, VP, but what the fuck is Porzingis gonna do? He was just in the team. He was just in Washington with a similar team. He was getting you buckets, but the motherfucker don't stay healthy. He's a perimeter
Stretch the floor.
shooter. They gonna
Yeah.
stretch the floor, but it's three niggas that want to shoot.
They look at as
Well,
being a
Phoenix,
younger
same
Horford.
thing. There ain't enough basketballs in America for that Phoenix team for them
Yeah,
shooters.
Right.
and we're all saying they're gonna have the same problem. The only difference in Boston, at least, they kind of got some guys that, but you can't even say that no more because they ain't got Marcus Smart. They got Williams that's gonna play in the interior, but ain't nobody who the fuck's really scared of them right now. When
Well,
we know Jason Tatum fuck around disappear
that's true. But Porzingis, he could like he's gonna get you 27 and 11, on his
every
good
now and then.
nights.
Yeah,
Yeah, on his good nights. He's gonna,
yeah.
but he's a rebounder. He's a long guy. Pause. He's gonna stretch the floor, and I think their hopes is to try and pull the big men out of the paint if they can. If they can pull,
Exactly.
the basket, protectors out of the paint a little bit to make room for Tatum and
But that's
Jalen Brown if
that's the
Jalen Brown ever
thing.
decides he's going to learn how to go left.
But that's the thing. Like when you look at, let me just give Miami their props. You match up this Miami team versus Boston. It just got harder for Boston. Ain't nobody
I,
Bam now. Don't have to
I don't.
worry about this nigga. Bam does not have to worry about Porzingis. He's one of the
Well,
one
who
big men
well
in the
who did he
East.
have before to worry about on that team? Horford. I think Porzingis is a better decoy, if you will,
Yeah.
at big man than
I
Horford.
And
I
he and
don't
he's at least a scorer. Horford is going to shoot. And when Horford was in the game, they didn't even have Bam guard him because
I
that's
know,
just like
but
a
but
waste of time.
again, we forget this motherfucker Porzingis wasn't in the West somewhere. He's playing in Washington. These motherfuckers have seen him. He wasn't lighting the league up. He had a couple of good games here and there, but he ain't what he was.
And
He ain't
and
what he was.
frankly, no disrespect to your Heat VP, I don't think Boston is thinking the Heat next year. I
Yeah,
think
I
they're
think they're thinking
thinking
Milwaukee, Philly.
Milwaukee, right? Yeah, and Philly. So, and to that point, I think Miami has some moves to make. Um, if they're going to be as
Formidable
successful next year, because they're going to get some of those small guys back, the heroes and stuff. But you guys, we talked about MVP.
like
Like
size.
you guys need some size in you. Pause.
But you look at it to the point of Milwaukee. Portis on Porzingis, that shit is dead. Like, I mean, this Porzingis played in the East and was not a factor for Washington at all. Like, he was getting some buckets. He had some good nights. I got to watch him versus the Knicks live, and I saw the whole, pulling Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson was out there guarding this dude. Granted, he gave Mitchell 20 something points, but he didn't affect the outcome of the game. Granted, they didn't have much, but Kuzma, now that motherfucker, he can get you a bucket. Kuzma is the one out there. But I mean, to me, you add Porzingis to this Boston team, you take away the toughness and the heart. Now they really don't have any. They really don't have any dogs. They really don't now. I don't see how this helps this team. I just don't. It's three dudes that's gonna be on the perimeter looking to jack up shots.
I mean, what it also tells you too is them team to the coach's philosophy. Joe Mazzulla, Ime was there. They were a defensive team first, and with Joe Mazzulla there, it's like, yo, as long as you score more points, you win the game, so you don't got to worry about defense.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
and it seems like this move is basically just
Jack 'em
going
up.
deeper into that bag.
50 shots a game. I want y'all to have 50 shots. Each one of
Yeah.
y'all, 50 shots.
Everybody wants to be champions on paper, so they're just looking at their names and how they can stack their roster to make it appear like it's a championship roster. But at the end of the day, they got to play the game, and we've seen that that's not happening. Like the Lakers have been, with LeBron and AD, they've been a favorite. And granted, they overperformed this year, but they didn't get it done. That Phoenix team was a favorite as soon as KD went over there. They couldn't get it done. Like you had two underdog stories, if you will. Denver looked good all season, but they don't have. There's no one. I mean, Joker sticks out now because of the year he had, but going into the season, nobody was like they have an absolute top 5 guy in the league on their team, or they have 2 top 10 guys or anything like that. Jamal Murray wasn't on anybody's radar. Aaron Gordon was just a dunker. He was like a Blake Griffin, with a little bit more rebounding. Like that's how you looked at that team. So you had the underdog story there. Miami, I mean, you had a bunch of nobodies. No offense to any of them, but that was the theme of the playoffs. The undrafted guys, I got 6 undrafted guys. Like, fuck out of here. Nobody thought that they were going to do what they did. So you can stack these rosters however you want. It's starting to look like heart and talent and depth is what's really making the NBA teams that are winning teams. In these days, it's no longer the Wade, Bosch, Braun. Like that super team was a different type of team. Like you had 3 of the top 10 to 15 guys in the league, hands down, no question. Top
10.
one at
Top 10.
top one
10.
at each of their positions,
Yeah.
right? You could make that argument. The only question would have been Flash at shooting guard because Kobe was in the league, but Braun was the best small forward. Bosch was arguably the best power forward, with maybe Stoudemire being the only person that Tim Duncan, that would have been in the conversation. But these guys, it's not like that no more. Like, and these dudes, they want to be friends and shit. Like, they want to be friends with the other team. They want to go shoot around. They want to have lunch with them and dinner before the fucking game. Like, nah, man, get out there
That's
and go
what I
get
said a
this,
couple
get these
pods
wins.
ago. That's what I said a
But
couple pods ago. This is signified the end of that super team era. It is now about how much depth do you have, on your team, and when it comes late to the playoffs, who's going to make that run?
right, and I don't disagree with either. I want to make 2 points real quick because Steve kind of brushed over this, and I think it's an excellent point. The Aaron Gordon, Blake Griffin comparison. Blake Griffin was basically the same player his whole career. Aaron Gordon added stuff in that, like watching him in Denver. I don't watch many Denver. I don't watch many Western teams. Period. Just because they play
late.
too late, and I gotta go. But watching Aaron Gordon play in the finals, like I recognize him. Used to seeing what I saw when he was in Orlando. And you look at a guy like Blake Griffin, who was a star from jump, versus Aaron Gordon, who kind of had to become what he is versus coming into the league. To see the way he's changed his game is like players need to do that. You got to add stuff in the off season. You can't just come back as the same guy every year or what. Like that's what makes these guys viable to their franchise. But to the point about the super team era, I think that you guys are right. But I think the one thing that has been a bigger factor in this whole super team thing is the collective bargaining agreement where they've added max contracts. And so now these players are being paid so much money. It's crazy to put them together because you just look at the salary in Phoenix. KD is getting paid, I think it's something like 49. Bradley Beal makes 7 million, and Devin Booker, who makes 30. It almost seems like he's on food or something based on what he's being paid compared to those other guys. And then not next year, but the year after next, both Bradley Beal and KD's contracts go into the $50 million range, and then Booker's going to be at almost like 40. That's just
And
three
Boston,
guys. That's
Boston with
eating
just
up.
two guys, 600
Right.
now.
Boston with just two guys, you're going to be at 600 million, average salary of like 55 million a year for each. You're going to have 110 million bucks in just two players, let
Right.
alone whatever else you do. So the salary cap itself is essentially anti, or not the salary cap, but these
Collective
supermax
bargaining.
CBA.
deals, the CBA is essentially anti super team, which I would argue is a good thing.
Yeah. And
Playing
there's not too
totality.
many Tom Brady's out there. You know what I mean? Like in the NBA, you don't have Tom Brady's out there. And rightfully so. I'm not getting at these guys for getting their money,
Right.
but there's not many guys out there that are or Wade's for that matter, right? Dwayne Wade is known to have always taken pay cuts for Miami. Like
Yep.
this guy always put the team first, always put winning first. Even
His whole
LeBron when
career,
he
he
got
was
to
never the highest
Miami.
payer player on the team. His
Yeah,
whole
even
career.
when LeBron got to Miami, he could have gotten more, right? But he took a little bit of a cut because he knew in endorsements. Plus, he's business savvy. He's got guys in his corner that are super super smart, and winning is going to make you more money in those endorsements than this contract in most cases, right? The little
Mhm.
bit that you're leaving on the table. So yeah, man, you don't have too many of those guys. I think the one last piece that I'll say on the NBA on this piece on the NBA is the last determining factor is going to be where Dame Lillard lands.
Ends up.
If he lands somewhere other than where he is right now, or if someone big lands there, but I think it's more him going somewhere because I don't know that there's one person or even two people right now that could make Portland be that team where you're like, oh shit, we got to worry about them. Not
Yeah,
in not in one trade, not that they can make.
Nope.
Portland's not a team that's they're not a piece away. They're multiple pieces away.
Mhm.
And at this stage in Dame's career, is either this whole loyalty that he's been. I know EJ's called cap, but either he has to decide I'm gonna be loyal and I'm gonna retire a trailblazer because that's what I want to do, ring or not, or he has to say I want a ring and I got to get out of here because he's not winning a ring if he stays in Portland. Not if he does, he's gonna be like and be like that glue guy who, is the heart of the team, the dude like Steve was talking about. Because it ain't happening the way the roster is presently constructed.
He's suffering from the same thing Aaron Rodgers was suffering from. He doesn't want to seem like the bad guy to the fans of that franchise, but he knows he needs to go. They haven't done right by him. They haven't pulled anybody in. They haven't made any of the moves they need to make. And you unfortunately have spited yourself by saying you don't believe in the super teams. You don't believe in teaming up. You want to get it from the mud. He want to be all on his Oakland shit. And listen, here you are. You're rotting in ring purgatory, and no one's coming out there. You know
That's a
what I
good
mean?
comparison.
You're
I
not coming out there.
The one place I think Dame can go, and I'll ask you guys the same question if you feel there's one place. The one place I think Dame can go that can make a huge difference immediately and make them a championship like maybe favorite would be Philly. If
Yeah.
they found a way to do that without losing Embiid, like if he replaces, like if he comes in there and he replaces, I mean, I'm
Tobias
willing to
Harris.
give up. I'm willing to give up a Harris and maybe even a Maxi, right? But
Yeah,
if you can
they're
hold
gonna
on
give
to
up both
Max,
Tobias Harris and Maxi, and then some picks.
yeah. But I mean, if they can keep James Harden, they can keep Embiid, and they can get now you got a pretty. I think that's a pretty good team, good super team, and they'll probably have to find some vets to fill in. But I would like to see Dame in Philly. That would be nice.
Agree.
I, I think that's the only place that to me culturally makes sense for him because Miami, I don't see him fitting Miami style. I don't Miami for what they have athletic guards. They need to get bigger on the wings and they need to get bigger in the interior. Dame to me ain't the defensive guy that's gonna fit the Heat culture. He gonna score 50. I mean, it'll help that team, but what they have to give up in what they have currently, I think hurts them
Right.
because if they get Dame and yeah, he'll give you 50, and then Jimmy will be out there playing defense by himself all day long with Bam. But come playoff time, these motherfuckers are gonna be burnt out. So
Yeah,
It'll never
I mean,
happen, but Miami should try to get some ROI on Jimmy right now because he's what 33.
yeah, 33.
Yeah, he ain't getting no younger.
Yeah, I mean, Pat Riley, I mean, he's not on record, but the Heat have made no secret that they want Dame. And like even reports, from some of the Heat beat writers, I know Steve hates beat writers, have been that the Heat were going after Bradley Bill, but they weren't like ever like we gotta get. It was like, oh, okay, we make you this offer. Okay, you don't
Right.
want it, that's fine, cool. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think they believe that Dame is going to ask to be traded, and then they're going to be in the mix. But Dame will trade, so it's not like he wants to go. And Portland has to do. That's where he wants to go. Where they're gonna get the most value. You know.
Yeah,
So
unfortunately, I just think unfortunately at this time, I just think he's getting older in the tooth too, and the NBA, man, I don't know, man. I don't know. This finals was great for the parity, for the two teams that matched up, but just all around the league, like either shorten the season or something, because I can't take 82 games of this shit. Motherfuckers are scoring 40, 50.
I
This
like it.
shit, I
I
don't
like
like the 82 games. I don't.
I think the lowest they could go is 70. Like they can't go any lower than that. And I still think like here's the thing with shortening the season. You shorten the season and now you got all these records and now you have these GOAT debates that change and like I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been major changes in the past, 3-point line and stuff like that change trajectory, replay, all of that stuff, just like the NFL. But you shorten the number of games, man.
But
That
let's say you do take it to 70. Now you got the play-ins and shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
you got
mean,
the 80, you got the 80s because it's not even just a play-in because they've essentially elongated the season when they stopped the first and second round from being 5-game series. Because remember, you used to only be the conference finals and that were 7-game series. So like that's why I always put Steve's argument. Jordan never been to game 7. Like he didn't have to play game 7s when he first started. Those didn't exist into the
in the
conference
finals,
finals
in the
and finals.
finals they did. In the finals
No,
they
no,
did,
in the
and he
in
got
the in
six
the
rings,
no,
and
no.
he
I
got
just
six
mean
rings, no game sevens.
okay,
Watch
but
your
I'm
mouth.
talking about in the playoffs. So, anyway, um, but regardless, so you've essentially elongated the season, and then you add the play-in, where it's like, okay, these 4 teams got to play more games, and then still go through the playoffs. And if you have a grueling season, if we talked about it after the Heat lost to the Nuggets, y'all was saying, man, them guys look tired. Like, you
Motherfuckers
go,
played 1,000 games.
you're right. You had to play the play-in. You had to play both. You had to play both play-in games. Then 5 against Boston, 6 against
New
New
York.
York, and then 7 against Boston. I mean, 5 against Milwaukee, 6 against New York, and then 5 against Boston. So
Yep.
that they should
7.
consider, maybe 70 games, and then you keep the play-in, keep playoffs where they are, or whatever. So
Yeah, and then they talked about doing other shit like having losers bracket type tournaments, give us some other shit that's entertaining because a lot of that shit. Okay, prime example. The Grizzly, remember that stretch when the Grizz had Ja on the sideline and these motherfuckers won 20 games? We were like, where? Everybody missed that shit. It was
yeah,
like,
Now,
damn,
what
they
they
19
need, what
and
what they need to shorten is they need to shorten that damn preseason. That fucking NBA preseason is long as shit. Them motherfuckers start preseason like 2 months before the season starts.
yeah.
That's what you need to shorten. I mean, I get it. It's still
I mean,
82 games of
that's for the
regular, but
youngins though. That ain't no stars playing.
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
no, a lot of these guys do play. A lot of these guys. I mean, they don't play long minutes, but they do play. Um,
eh, I mean the season, man. I mean, it's just I don't know. To me, I get it. I get the 82 game. It's been what it's been, but the league don't really get exciting. People don't really start worrying about the league until when?
after the
I
All-Star
say,
break.
I say, make it 100. Make it 100 games. Let's go.
See,
Um,
you the company, man. We can't trust you.
um, what happened in the NFL? What did I miss?
Shit, I forgot. I put NFL on there, but I was thinking maybe just talking about it
Season's coming.
coming around. Yeah, maybe that.
Season's coming.
Cheetah's
Camps getting ready to start.
not facing no criminal charges, but the league is looking into him. But
This Var, you see what's happening, right?
What's that?
Man's finally got a quarterback and want to talk about the NFL every week now. When he ain't had no quarterback, it was like milestones only.
yeah,
Right.
That's foul. That's foul. Yeah, I mean, just the season is getting closer. It's getting closer.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for football this year. I like the parity of the league with all the movement, especially you guys. AFC East is gonna be a dog fight, yo. Y'all gonna have a dog fight out there.
It's
Who do
gonna
y'all
be
play?
Yeah.
Who's your off division this year for the AFC East? Oh, is it? It's us, isn't it? It's the
NFC,
NFC
yeah.
East.
Yeah.
NFC.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely gonna be y'all gonna. It's gonna be tough, man. Because listen,
Our first 8 games is hard. Our first eight
Yeah.
games is extremely hard.
I think the AFC East period, like regardless of how the schedule is kind of made up, it's gonna be rough just because they got to play each other and they got to play the NFC East. It's not like it's those years where it's like it's just us in Philly. You know, I guess you could argue it's still just Dallas and Philly, but you know,
yeah.
but the Giants could make a little bit of noise. Who knows? But you know, it's gonna.
I
Be
mean,
it's tough.
not if Saquon don't decide to show up.
Yeah, and
Saquon
the
still hasn't
NFL,
signed his tender.
the NFL has you know, they're trying to rig the AFC in the league in general for the New York Jets. But you know, we'll see what happens. You know.
Terrible. Listen, man, I
You
got
look at the
faith.
schedule. You guys don't got to travel a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean,
There's like a 6-week stretch
but
where
we had a
they
fucking,
don't even have to
but
leave New
nobody
York.
was saying nothing when we had the fucking toughest schedule last year after having one of the shittiest records the year before. No one
Hey,
said
I'm just
anything.
saying. I'm
No
just
one said
saying
anything.
it's not
It's,
lost on me that you
it's,
guys get Aaron Rodgers and all of a sudden the travel gets cut down.
it's about time we get a bone. It's about time.
Hey yo,
Hey, yeah, pause. It's about time. You know what I mean? I don't disagree with you, but I mean, shit, we had a horrible record the year before and then had top 5 percentage in hardest schedules last year. Like, come on, man. Like, it's nasty. It's
y'all
nasty.
still got difficult schedules this year, as do we, because we got to play you guys. I think these two divisions, and it's going to sound somewhat biased to the pod and me personally, but I think these could be two at the end of the year could be two of the best divisions in the league. I think you guys can send 2, maybe 3 teams to the playoffs, as depending on how everything plays out. And I think
Mhm.
the NFC East can send 2 easily. And if shit shines right, then we could potentially send 3 as well. So
I don't think as
the
many
fact
other
that we play
divisions.
each other is gonna be tough.
Yeah, I don't think as many other divisions that can say that because you look
Yeah.
at the NFC North, they just got weaker essentially because
Mhm.
you take Aaron Rodgers out of there, you don't know what Jordan Love is going to do. You don't know what the other teams are going to do. Detroit looks like the most stable team, which is still unstable. You look at the NFC South, all over the place. Uh, then you look at the AFC. The only other division in the AFC that you can kind of count on to deliver you something is the AFC North. But
I'll
they're
say the
kind
West too.
nah, I wouldn't
That
even say
Kansas City division,
I mean
Kansas City and Chargers.
AFC West is still Chargers division. I mean, still KC's division. The Chargers are still young, and they're still the Chargers. They to me, they're just historically going to be a choke artist team. That's just me. But the Broncos, they got Sean Payton now, maybe. So maybe we're leaving them out. Maybe.
That's a
Um,
sleeper
that's
division.
Sean maybe AFC West. But then you look at what AFC North, you have the Ravens, you have the Steelers, you got the Bengals. So I don't know. The AFC overall is just gonna be probably tougher than people are really giving credit to,
Yeah.
as it stands. So yeah, the
Yeah.
AFC as a whole, the conference is probably nasty right now when you look at it, because no division is really from top to bottom that trash. Now the NFC, totally different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
mhm.
Um, All right. What else we got? Shit, EJ, you went to see The Blackening?
I did. I saw The Blackening last night, and I thought it was
We're
gonna be
not gonna talk about this screen.
what's
What?
going? Huh?
I said we're not gonna talk about this submarine.
Yeah.
I tried. I had sub jokes all at the beginning, and y'all was like, no
I said too
bites,
soon.
no
TJ
bites. I
said
was
it
out
too.
here.
I was waiting.
I was fishing, and y'all was
Yeah.
like,
You know, I've been waiting to get into it. I got to take.
what's
Go
the
ahead,
take?
man.
Let's talk about it.
I don't think they should have went to look for the motherfuckers.
Oh shit.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Oh shit.
Hold on a second. That is VP, the president of research for the podcast, with his own take that says, now, go ahead.
Here's why, right? One, you know, I don't know if you guys had a chance to see that James Cameron interview. James Cameron, the director of Titanic, Avatar,
Terminator?
etc. James Cameron is one of these like submarine hobbyists. He's built his own submarine. He goes down to Titanic a bunch. I think he said he's been down there 12 times.
Really?
He's actually
I didn't know that.
yeah. He's a big hobbyist into that. He's been down to the Mariana Trench, which is 3 times deeper than
Yeah.
Titanic. He said he's made I think he said he's made like 39, 38 dives.
Wait, he's going deeper than the Titanic?
Yeah.
He's gone to the Mariana Trench, which is 3 times deeper than Titanic.
Okay. What is wrong with these people? Go ahead.
But the point of me bringing up the James Cameron thing is that he talked about like people who are in this thing. He was saying like, you know, this thing with submersible diving, you know, this is a grown person's like art. There's a lot of science behind it. You know what I mean? And Cameron says for the sub that he built, they spent 3 years of modeling just on the computer before they ever built anything. Whereas these people seem to just like put this shit together with duct tape and decided to go down to Titanic or whatever and had some kind of failure. When you see the interview with the CEO guy, they got lights from Camping World and like all this like, you know, rigged up shit that seemed like, oh, you know, hey, like, you know, like MacGyver basically. You know, we got some chewing gum, some nail clippers, and you know, some coax cable. Let's make us up, you know. And the point I'm making when I say I don't think they should have went down there to get them is that these people took this extreme risk. They didn't get their vessel certified, etc. And then they go down there, and then we have to spend tens of millions of dollars from multiple governments in, you know, Navy assets, planes in the air, satellites, etc., looking for these people who took risk, and that's fair to a country. Say you got a burden because these people be assholes. If you decide to go camping in a goddamn volcano, you shouldn't expect to be rescued when the shit erupts. You guys don't gotta travel a lot.
I want to know, first of all, why are people going? All right, I'm not paying $250,000 to go somewhere if I'm not the first one. Like, it's one thing if nobody had ever been there and they're like, yo, we about to take this voyage in this sardine can, you know. Nobody has ever been here. You'd be the first. You'll go on history. You'll go down in history. Like, what's the nigga's name that allegedly walked on the moon first?
Neil
Back
Armstrong.
Yeah, back when they green screened it. Like, it's different in that situation. But if you're like, yo, we've had people go there, or now I've learned and didn't know that you've had this guy that Vari talks about that's been deeper, pause. Like, why would I do this? First of all, like, what kind of hobbyist are you that decides, let me go as deep into the sea as possible? Like, at what point do you say to yourself, I'm gonna just stay where I'm at? Like, I'm good where I'm at. And then you're not gonna put me into just an item that you drop down, right? I don't think it had a motor of any sorts, right? Did it have like a controllable motor?
I'm not
Like,
sure.
like how was this thing moving? Like, no, no, no. And yes, I
And then
agree. And it's not the United States. The United States shouldn't have put any resources into this shit. Like,
and then you think
wasn't
about
no Americans on there, right?
no,
Yeah, the CEO
and then you
he wasn't American.
I don't know if he was American. From my understanding, it
The
was.
CEO I think was American. His wife isn't. His
Um,
wife is the one that's a descendant of the Titanic, but I think he was American.
Them
I
shit.
thought I didn't think like I mean I'm not.
From
I
his
know the
interviews,
guy,
he sounded
the
American.
billionaire guy. The billionaire guy was from the UK, and then the Pakistani guy and his son were Pakistani, and
Right.
then there was the pilot. They haven't really given any information on the pilot, and
Yeah,
then the
fuck him.
Right, that's basically the same media has been.
At
But
what point do you think they knew they was fucked?
I mean, right away, according to reports, it seemed like this thing imploded about an hour and a half into the journey on Sunday. So it seemed like even from the beginning of the search, they already were gone. So I don't know if y'all saw the thing I posted in the chat. They said that the Navy they said there's some kind
I
of
heard
top
about it on
secret.
Sunday.
Yeah, it was some kind of top secret listening shit that we got where they heard the implosion on Sunday, but they didn't know what it was until like
And
after the fact.
they didn't what that really was, and like I was telling my lady, I said, you think the fucking US didn't know these motherfuckers already? They didn't know. This shit with war games and spy games, Hunt for Red October, all that shit is real. Like they ain't in these big ass oversized subs anymore. These motherfuckers is down there with shit trying to figure out ways how we do what we need to do. They knew what was going on. They just revealing how they knew would give other people advantages to know what type of tech the Navy really has.
You could be right.
We know what time it is. Stop it.
Yeah. And the thing for me, like, I'm saying, like, I don't know if we should be going down there to look for these people because now you see at the press conference when they announced that the thing imploded, one of the questions from the journalist to the admiral who's giving the press conference is, are we going to make any efforts to go try to recover the bodies? And he's trying to be like as respectful as he can, and he's like, at that depth, the ocean is very unforgiving. He's basically trying to say, yo, are you fucking serious? Like, you see what already happened to it? Like, come on, dog. It's this kind of thing, because you think about, and you got CEOs, Bills, who's saying we gotta go to space. We need to send people to Mars. So motherfuckers gonna go get trapped on the moon, on Mars, and then we gotta move heaven and earth to go get there. It's like, come on, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you know why I don't want to go to Mars, Steve? Because Mars has one big problem that the Earth don't got. It don't got no fucking air. So what the fuck do I want to go there for?
The main thing we need to live.
Right. It's inhabitable.
I get to Mars and I go to the beach, club. Can I go to a restaurant, get a nice steak? No. And then on top of that, I can't fucking breathe. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would have shit myself, yo. Like, as soon as the nigga was like, yo, imagine you sitting there, you like, all right, we gonna go, shit. Yo, I'm hitting the buttons. Check the batteries.
I mean, trying to nothing happen.
So somebody ain't recharged the battery. Yo, oh my god. Do you think the pilot or the whatever he was, you think he told them like right away, like, hey, brace yourself? Or you think he kind of kept it to himself, like, oh shit?
He probably kept it to himself. The CEO's on board, so he probably like, hey, Matt, can I talk to you for a minute? And they over there like whispering to other people, like, everything all right? They go, oh yeah. We're just checking the flux capacitor. You know what
I mean? We just checking the GPS. We want to make sure. We wasn't sure if we were supposed to go up or down. Yo, I don't. Yo, oh my god. So the implosion, they said that it probably happened so fast that they probably felt nothing, right?
Yeah.
That they felt no pain.
Imagine they say it takes 2 hours to get down. So they were already, I think they said it was an hour and a half into the journey to when the people up top lost communication. So if you figured that's when it happened, if it takes 2.5 hours to get down 13,000 feet, you figure an hour and a half, they probably were at least 6,000 feet down or so. And our regular subs, like the ones with people on them, only go down like 4,000 feet. They probably
Yeah,
can go
those are the military tactical.
they probably could go deeper, choose
Yeah,
not to for safety. You got to figure the pressure down there. At my last job, I used to work with like underground cables and shit, and we had to do training on like what to do, like if you're in a hole, like on a dig, and it collapses, and just in like a 3-foot hole of dirt, the amount of pressure it can exert on your legs could break bone. You know what I mean? So imagine being down water. We're damn fathomable amounts of pressure.
I wish I knew science like that, yo, to understand like the pressure like that. Like when you go up into an airplane or when you go down in underwater or whatever into like I wish I understood that shit because I don't. Like to me, I'm like nigga, when you in the water, you in the water. No matter how deep you go, it's just you swim. Like I feel like if you at 80,000 feet underwater, it's the same as being 4 feet. It's just can you hold your breath long enough to get down there? Like that's how I see it. So when they're like, "Oh, pressure, pressure," I'm like, "What pressure y'all talking about?" Maybe it's just me, man. But I'll tell you one thing. Um, it's gonna be some crazy ass lawsuits.
real quick before I make my quick exit. The blackening. That's my submission for the Benjis. It was actually pretty good. It was comical. It was stupid, but it was actually a pretty damn good watch.
Was
So
it a scary movie?
it was a horror comedy. It was in that
Ah,
vein. Yeah, it was in that vein of a scary movie type thing, but it was actually pretty funny. It was actually good.
And
Uh
it's all black people, right?
it's all black people, couple literally like 3 white people in the whole movie. So
Can you hold back about 2 minutes on bingeables real quick?
now I'm leaving that there for y'all. I'm
No.
out.
I'm saying I want to bring up a bingeable. I'm saying, can you hold out? Can you stay? Can you stay like 2 minutes?
I'm gonna hear you.
Okay.
But I gotta go.
So EJ recommended Flaming Hot, and he said, "Man, this thing is
Oh,
gonna win
that shit was
awards."
absolutely fucking trash. I couldn't
I,
make it to 5 minutes, yo. You disrespectful piece of shit. You son of
yo,
a bitch. How
Yo,
could you
y'all ain't got no soul, man.
yo,
how could
I
he
watched
punked us. I get it.
I watched the whole thing. I didn't think it was like that as bad as Steve is saying, but I gotta call some major fucking cap, yo.
Yo, y'all niggas ain't got no soul, yo. Y'all motherfuckers are two most inconsistent motherfuckers ever. Y'all be like the whale was good, fucking, and this was good, and what I mean, it's because it was a Mexican. You motherfuckers is racist. There it is. There it is. There it is. I knew
I
it.
made it to about 12 minutes, yo. At about the 12-minute
Okay,
mark, I was like,
I
yo,
ain't,
what am I watching, yo?
And
yeah,
this motherfucker, hey, can you stay a minute so we can shit on your tape?
yeah. It was a good one. It was a good story. I had never heard the story before, but yeah, I didn't know Eva Longoria produced that until it got to the end.
That shit was ass, yo.
Yeah,
I'm
it
wa-
was a good story though.
I'm watching that shit, and well, maybe I gotta finish the story, but
Yeah,
I'm watching this shit, and he's telling this story about his little girlfriend and shit, and I'm like, then they're running from the police.
yeah.
All right, dog, you got it.
Well,
I'm
when
done.
you make it to the end, they actually stay together. It says they were married. I think they're married like 48 years or something like that. So 3 kids, 48 years,
Nah,
and she's the one who helped him develop the like the flaming hot flavor or whatever. And
they could have put that shit into a meme.
they tested it out on their kids or whatever. They had one son, and he would be like their sampler basically. And then once he said it was right, that's when they to the company. And the shit like what about it too is like this definitely is something that's just like it got to be for that, because like telling his boss at the factory, at the Frito Lay factory, yo, we got to get this, to corporate or whatever, and the boss is like, oh yeah, so I'm supposed to just call the head of Frito Lay and tell them that one of my janitors came up with a new flavor. Come on, And so since he's a janitor, he got access to the office, goes in there at night, and they book in there in his manager's office that got like area number, and he just calls the CEO's office, and I'm like, ain't no way in hell in today's day and age, like a plant supervisor got the CEO's phone number.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
right. I know my
but,
CEO's email. I could look it up, but that's
and
about
you
it.
emailing him when you send that email. You emailing an assistant.
Right. Not a yeah. They crazy, man.
Yeah. So, but he ends up getting into the CEO, and the CEO's like, he essentially recognized him because he was like, he's from a small town, and he was like, it was one of those things like, small can't contain visionary, too big or whatever. And so he was like, he the guy in himself and the guy, and so they made the flavor. And then at first, it wasn't moving, and then it started moving or whatever. And I think EJ liked it because of the whole, not just that it's a minority that did something
underdog
big,
story,
and not just that. This is the reason why I think EJ really liked it, right? Because you saw the beginning. It starts off, he's in a gang, all this kind of stuff. He leaves the gang, gets a job, supports family, etc. Then he comes up this flavor, yada yada yada. Once Olay puts it on the shelf, it's not moving, right? Selling anything. But the reason it wasn't selling, no advertising behind it. He goes to the hood and talks to some of his former like drug buddy guys or whatever, and they essentially like buy up the whole store and just like start handing them the block. The one gets shipped from the factory, they go take them from the factory and just start handing them. And then once people start getting them, that's when they start going to the store like, yo, I need these, and they start moving. And then Frito Lay sees like, yo, we moving units in this test market, we got to expand, and then the rest is history, So I think that's what really make EJ like, because how EJ be like, man, you got to go to OGs, the block, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So I think that aspect of it is what's making him like, yo, this movie is, I'm telling you, man, like forget about Shawshank Redemption. This is the new best story ever told.
right. Yeah, Viola Davis, you can count yourself out this year. EJ's wild, yo. He was wilding with that one. I'm good.
Man.
I seen Element or Elemental, the
Elementals. I want to see that.
Elementals.
Looks good.
They made this big deal of it. Like I was reading online before that they made this big deal of it. Republicans were like, "Oh, Disney's forcing
Going woke."
Yeah, they're going woke. There was nothing in there at all. Like it said something. I was reading, and apparently somebody said they said something about not mentioning gender and stuff, but the 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 fire chick immediately says fire girl on the run. Like
that's not what it is. The whole thing is like in the thing they talk about how the elements don't mix. So the fire, water stay with water. So it's kind of like how like not mixing races, and then these two come together. I haven't seen it, but I just kind of know what
it
the
is.
story is about.
That's exactly what it is. It's almost like
and so
it's almost like not dating or marrying outside of your race. Like when you watch the story.
That's what this whole like, oh, they're going woke shit is about. Is them saying they look at it like they're trying to put this hidden message in there, like inclusion and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And apparently, like
I think that's a good message for this day and age for kids.
Yeah,
to be like, hey, you like this one is fire, this one's water. They got along. Like that's a good message in a movie that I would support a teacher playing in the classroom to teach.
Because you have the woke mind virus, Steve.
Yeah, I
guess
as Ron
DeSantis puts it. You got the woke mind. That's why.
I guess so. Anyway, it seemed like it was basically a love story. It turned into a love story. When you watch it, it plays out like so many movies that we've seen that are movies that have the same type of fucking plot. And you're watching it, and it's like a movie, only it's a cartoon. I'm telling you, wait till you watch it. You're gonna be like, what the fuck? This shit it's like a Bronx Tale. Like literally, it's like a Bronx Tale. How Colangelo and the girl were not supposed to be together. Similar to that. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like I don't know. Somebody blew it out of proportion for no reason because I'm waiting for it. And I'm like, okay, where are they gonna talk about it? All right, she's a girl. All right, he's a guy. Well, where is it? You know, and they just they went OD on it, man. But nonetheless, aside from all of that, it was a good movie. It was a
Yeah.
good movie. It was about an hour and just under 2 hours, and it was good, man. I think you would like it.
Did the kid enjoy it? I know he usually has trouble like sitting through.
We made it all the way through. We made it all the
Good.
way through.
Good.
Probably because it was animated, and obviously we have popcorn and stuff. I will say though,
Definitely
um,
helps.
yeah, that
It's
movie,
necessary.
yeah, skip the movie theater downtown, on Orange Ave. At one point, it was a nice theater. Like when it first popped open, they had the bars and it was nice and leather seating and stuff. Now it's a shit show.
Mm,
Oh my god, most of the bathrooms are closed. It's bad. That shit's gonna shut down soon.
yeah.
No
You know
question.
what we do? Like honestly, we go to the joint, Regal, not a sponsor, you know,
I
the
fuck
one
with Regal.
in Waterford. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
we for us, like, and I'm probably doing this too. Like, I mean, I think in the last 7 years, I've probably seen two, maybe three movies at night. We don't have a problem going to movies in the daytime. So, it's less people and, we can get good seats and stuff. And now that they make you pick seats, we definitely try to go earlier so we can pick better seats or whatever.
yeah.
And, dude, man, it's easy for it's right. One,
Uh oh. Uh oh. I think it's coming down to. I think I'm gonna be the last Mohican. Oh, okay. Your connection went really really bad at one point where you were frozen.
yeah, I saw
Um,
that.
no. I usually do Regal. Like I'm a Regal Crown member. Platinum. Actually, I think I'm Diamond now. For those who are counting.
Did you say that with the pinky up while you holding the mic?
Dude, I haven't paid for popcorn in years. That's how many points I got. I go in there,
Yeah.
I'd be like, yo, let me get the free popcorn, upgrade it to a medium. I probably pay like $1 each time.
Uh,
Because I always go to Regal. But I think for it was just the time we left and we left early and I wanted to get there as quick as possible. I wanted to get into an earlier showing. It was 6:35 was that one, and we would have had to wait till like 7 o'clock for the other two Regals. So I was
gotcha.
like, all right, let's just go give it a shot. Plus, they got food. They got chicken tenders and they and pizza and nachos and French fries and stuff like that, which I think the Regals have too, but
Yeah.
they have a lot of different options. So I was like, all right, let's go check it out. That theater is a fucking dump, yo. It's a
Damn.
dump. Like the audio was skipping in the movie. Like it was bad. It was bad. And then we went into the bathroom. The bathroom got like panels missing. You could see the pipes under the sink. It's a dump, yo. That movie theater is a dump. I'll never go there again unless they
Mm,
remodel it. And we see some, but it's a shame because it's a nice theater. It's big. They got seating areas, bars. They do bottles. They do all types of shit. It's just it's a dump.
yeah.
But I saw that. Other than that, I've been watching Ted Lasso. I'm done with 2 seasons now. I got one more season left to go. It's a good watch. The second season's a little bit of a slower watch, but it's still good. Um, First one is easily bingeable, like quick, 10 episodes, 30 minutes. You get through that quick, and it keeps you on.
Yeah.
Real witty, funny, comeback comedy type shit. I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, I still got that on my list. Me checking that out. Besides the Flaming Hot, Black Mirror, a new season started on Netflix. I've watched the first 2 episodes so far. Also, my wife watched that. Watched episodes of that so far, but it's not all really. So it comes on once a week. Jim Stone show of that show. Season 3 just started back, so check that. I checked that out, and then I also checked out your joint, The Idol. I've watched the first 2 episodes so far.
Mm.
Um,
I didn't.
you
I
know,
couldn't get through the second one, yo.
yeah, it's it's not really, it hasn't grabbed me yet. Like, it hasn't lost me, but I'm not like fully in at this
Yeah.
point, But and the Weeknd's character, man,
He's
like
crazy.
he seemed like kind of slimy to me in the first one, and then once you make it through the second one, you can be like, yo, this dude's a fucking slime ball, yo.
I saw shots of it online. I was like, oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
and I didn't know that girl was Johnny Depp's daughter.
The main character?
Yeah, the main character.
I didn't know that either. Now I do.
She's Johnny Depp's daughter. Usually when I watch
Oh.
something, I try to the people who are, I've seen them somewhere else before. And but I didn't really. There's only really one person on there I actually recognize, and it's the lady who plays the label executive, the older lady with the curly hair. She was in that HBO show Hung. That was like maybe 10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but she's the only one that I recognize. So when I was looking them up, when I saw her, I was like, "Who is this chick?" or whatever. And it says she's Johnny Depp's daughter.
I'm glad you said that because I wanted to see who were doing the voices. All right, nobody. As I'm looking at Elementals, no one that I thought it was going to be. So yeah, one of them I recognize her, Catherine O'Hara. What was she in?
That name sounds familiar.
Oh, I think she's Kevin McAllister's mother in in what was in Home Alone. I think she was the Home Alone. Yeah, I think she was the Home Alone mom.
Yep.
Maybe
Home Alone mom.
Right?
Oh, the dude, the black guy. That's Actually, I don't think you saw that. He was the Wade in Elementals, but the dude Mahmoud
Mamadou Ali Ati.
Yeah, he was in that show I watched, the one I told y'all, the Netflix joint about the guy who becomes like the wine person or whatever.
Yeah,
he's from that show. But yeah, the rest I recognize. I recognize him and Lee, and that's it.
Yeah, you gotta watch it, man. I think I think you'll enjoy
it. I
it.
love Pixar, man. I always tell Tom Hanks, and like anything Pixar, I'll watch them without even seeing a preview, just because they've got that kind of reputation, at least,
Yeah, I like Pixar, man. They do a good job. They do a really good job. What else? Anything else we got to cover?
I think we hit it all, man.
All right. Well, I don't know if I should do the outro or hand it off to you. You look like you're pretty stable right now, so I will give it to you to take us up out of here.
All right, everybody. We definitely appreciate you guys rocking with us on this episode of the podcast. As we always say, especially thinking of that Mariah Mills conversation from earlier, man, like reach out to your people, let them know you're thinking about them, check in on your folks. You never know how they doing, what's going on inside their head. So send that text message, make that phone call, let folks know you love them. They'll appreciate it. I'm pretty sure you'll appreciate it as well. You can find this podcast on all podcasting platforms by searching Castworthy. You also can find us on any of our social media by searching @Castworthy. On Instagram, it's @Castworthy_podcast. While you're there, you like, you comment, share, subscribe, follow a friend, tell a friend, help us. And with that said, we will see you guys on another fresh episode of the Castworthy podcast next week. We're out. We love you. Peace.